Hello rock and metal fans, welcome to Iridium Rock and Metal Reviews and another review for you today. So, been pretty good so far this year for albums coming out. Got a few really good ones coming out in the next couple of weeks as well. But today I'm going to review the new Accept album, Too Mean to Die. So, had three releases come off of this, like YouTube videos, official videos and singles. I liked all of them. Now it's time to review the album in its entirety. Came out yesterday, the 29th of January, on Nuclear Blast Records. This is the 16th studio album by Accept, and the fifth one since 2010. So 2010, Mark Tornillo joined the band. Obviously, old Accept was mainly Udo Dirk Snyder. Mark Tornillo, like I said, joined way back when, 2010. And 5 albums in that time period. So, you know, really prolific for a band these days to release that many albums in a short space of time. Some band it's every 3 or 4 years, but what we get is every couple of years we get an Accept album. 11 tracks, 52 minutes and 11 seconds long. Now, obviously, nearly everyone who watches this channel will know what Accept all about, but they've got little influences from AC/DC, Judas Priest, maybe a little bit of Scorpions back in the day, in their more melodic side, a little bit of Scorpions, I suppose, their German counterparts. This album was produced by Andy Sneap, who has produced every album since Mark Tornillo's been in the band. So 5 albums, studio albums, it's been the same producer. Just going through the band themselves. Mark Tornillo obviously on vocals, Wolf Hoffman on lead guitar, I'm going to pronounce all these wrong, Yul Lulis on rhythm guitar, Philip Schusch on the third guitar, Martin Motnick on bass, and Christopher Williams on drums. So another guitarist added, making it a 3 guitar attack, and that's becoming, not with every band, but a few bands are doing that now. Primal Fear are doing that. Maiden have done it for a few years now. So, that's interesting. So sometimes I think, I love Maiden, for example, but sometimes I think the 3 guitar attack muddies it a little bit. It's a bit too much, in my opinion. But it doesn't really, if anything, it enhances this record, because what you get on this album is my favourite part of guitaring, and it never gets old since I've been a kid, and that's twin lead guitars. So, but obviously Accept have always done the twin lead part. They've done it quite a bit in their career. But what they've got now, they can, once this fucking bullshit lockdown crap and fucking this virus goes away, when they go back on the road, that enhances the live experience. And where you get a twin lead, you're going to get the rhythm guitar behind it as well, and that sort of, it makes it, when you're listening to the album itself, it makes it more realistic. It's like when you hear a 1 guitar band in the studio, just a single guitarist, and you hear rhythm guitar behind the solo, and you think, hold on a minute, that ain't gonna go to the live experience at all, is it? It's just not going to happen. That ain't gonna, you're going to hear a completely different sort of sound. But in this, it's more of a genuine sound because you've got 3 guitars, which is cool. So just let me talk a little bit about this time period for the band. So like I said, 5th album in, this is a difficult time for the band for a couple of reasons. So they produced 4 really good albums. In my opinion, this is my favourite part of era of Accept. I think it's the most consistent. Every album's good. Whereas back in the day, with the old Accept albums, I didn't like every song on them. I think they're really strong now. I think the vocalist is outstanding. Obviously, there's only 1 member left of the original Accept, that's Wolf Hoffman. People seem to have a fucking problem with that. What does it matter? Honestly, what does it matter? I can understand if Wolf goes as well. There's, he's producing some brilliant albums. The music's excellent. And it's in line, if not better, than old Accept. So I can't see why people have got a problem. If it's good, it's good. What does it fucking matter? Anyway, I shouldn't rant too much. So like I said, an album, we're at a difficult time of the band, I think, because on the 5th album, in that space, you know, that many years, you've got to produce something a little bit different. But what you're tied to pleasing the fans, which you should be. So the Accept fans are getting what they want. But experimentation can sort of divide a lot of fans, you know, and it has done with albums in the past from big artists. They've all of a sudden said, right, and we're going to do something completely different. They've done it, and it's completely split the fans. You can't do that. What you've got to do, you've got to produce the music that the fans love with little tweaks and little differences within songs, not going too far into experimentation. And that's the answer with a band like Accept. You know, I really do think it is. You've got to please the majority of the people that have been following you for years. You've got to get that strong music out there, but give a little bit of differences, little tiny tweaks to your music. And I think they've done that with this. They produce those little tweaks. So it's Accept through and through. But when you're analysing the music, which I'm doing more now, obviously, you know, this is the first Accept album that's come out since I've been doing this channel. So I'm looking at music differently now. I just automatically am. I'm just analysing it and looking at little bits, and I'm noticing the little differences on this album. So that's cool. Like I said, the twin leads parts are more genuine now for me. The free guitar attack is really cool. Always loved Mark Tornillo as the lead singer of Accept since he joined the band. And the songs themselves are great. It doesn't disappoint, this album. Although I've heard a couple of things, some reviews, and you know, I try not to take too much notice because I make my own mind up. But mostly for me, I think it's been positive, the reviews, and I totally agree with that. I think it's a good album. So you're always going to get people that don't like something. It's just, you know, it's an opinion, isn't it? So let's just go through the tracks as they are in order. Kicking off the album is Zombie Apocalypse.
Society is now deceased. Technology has unleashed the beast. It's a zombie apocalypse. From the zombie apocalypse.
So, great opener. Third single that was released, and this actually got released because the album was due out a couple of weeks ago. They couldn't get it out to the fans, so they decided to, because of COVID and something going on with the printing of the album, whatever, the making of the album. So what they did, they produced, they brought a third single out, Zombie Apocalypse, and I love it. It's absolutely great. It's perfect for an opener because it's heavy. The subject matter, look, it's been done before. It's sort of basic. It's not about real zombies, although the video does show real zombies, but it's saying that the society is like zombies because of social media, always looking at their phones, walking, brains, you know, like just looking at their phones, batteries wearing out, and when they're going to get their next fix from. Listen, I can totally relate to this. I think we all suffer from looking at our phones too much, taking our eye off the ball of real life. You know, it's just one of those things. And like I said, it hasn't been done before. I know it's been done a few times before, this subject matter, but you know, I think it's a great subject matter, and the video enhances it even more. Check that out on YouTube. And it goes to show as well that they haven't lost, except have always had a great sense of humour. And as you know, if you want to label people, and like people do, in the old days, Germans were looked at as, not having a sense of humour. Well, that's bullshit. And they've always had a sense of humour, except, and they portrayed that in their music, and I think it's great. I love it. So this is a classic Accept riff through this song. A great solo, by the way, and I must say the soloing and the technical ability of these guys is amazing. And like I said, the twin lead stuff and it's different twin lead stuff. It's not like an Iron Maiden twin lead. It's little fiddly bits that are different than you've heard. And also that what they do, they always follow a melody in a song. So they might have a technical bit within a solo, but then they'll go back into a melody which really fits with the song. And I always go on about solos in the old days, you know, back in the 80s, were a lot of songs on their own. They're like basically a song within a song. I think Accept try and do that, where they have a melody that goes through and it's a hummable melody in the guitar solo, and that's great. So that's the first track out of the way, Zombie Apocalypse. Right, then we bash into like another single, the second single, the title track, Too Mean to Die.
I'm a man on a mission. You'll never kill me. And I'm a man with a vision. You're too blind to see. I too mean to die. I too mean to die. Spit mine in your eye.
And this is heavy yet again, a little bit faster than the first track. Another good rocker. I love it when Tornillo gets aggressive because he has that almost Bon Scott style to his voice. You know, when he really gets more aggressive, it's great. I love that. And the twin lead comes in this song, brilliant. At the end of the solo, lovely little twin lead bit. Too Mean to Die is a great track. And what you got there is two tracks kicking it off that are, you know, real rockers. Next up, we get something a bit more melodic. This Overnight Sensation. This is definitely a bit of me. This is a cool riff, like harking back to almost like the Metal Heart sort of days in the 80s, like songs like Living for Tonight, stuff like that. Real cool. This looks like it's like a dig at the way people try and become famous, you know, without any talent. You know, pricks starting YouTube channels up, you know, reviewing rock music, stuff like that. So this goes to show yet again, they've got a really good sense of humour. You know, lyrically, it's funny if you get it. You know, it's not about them wanting to become an overnight sensation. It's about people without any talent becoming famous for fuck all. A very good subject. I totally agree with it. Overnight Sensation, I love it. It's a great song and it's very melodic. Next up, No One's Master. This is classic, except again, you know, real German Teutonic metal. Another cool twin lead solo in this, making use of the three guitarists again. So this is real Accept again. You know, the first, second, and the fourth track are classic Accept. The third one's that melodic thing, giving you something a bit different. Next up, a song I love, which has split fans a little bit, I think. I'm not sure, but The Undertaker is...
Rich or poor, large or small, the Undertaker takes them all. Undertaker, ring out your dead. The Undertaker. The Undertaker.
It's the first song that was released, and I fucking love this song. I mean, it's got them crowd backing vocals, the whoa-whoas from you know, that sort of Teutonic whoa sort of thing going on. Again, showing their sense of humour in this song lyrically. It's sort of got, especially there's like a guitar solo in this. It's sort of got like a horror theme. It feels like I'm watching, and it, yet again, bands. Not a lot of bands can do this, but they produce visual images through their music. And this does remind me of those old horror, black and white horror films. You know, the music is great. I absolutely love The Undertaker. It's one of the best songs on the album. It's great. That's my opinion, obviously. Next, Sucks to Be You. Back to the heavy stuff. Cool groove and riff this. Heavy chugging riffs over the vocals on the verses. Again, I mean, will be at the risk of repeating myself. Excellent solo with twin lead parts coming in and out. You know, similar to what, I don't know nothing like them, but Stryper do this, where one guitarist goes off on a technical solo, then the second guitarist comes in with a twin lead, then they come out of it again and switch. Love it, absolutely love it. Next up, Symphony of Pain. Great track, medium-paced rocker. Cool this, because really double kick drum going on in this song. I think it's a really cool touch. At the end of this solo, they use like which they have done in a lot of songs in the past, which I love. And I think they're one of the only bands that do this. They use like a classical bit of music, which I think is Beethoven's Fifth Symphony or something. Man, I just think it makes me smile when they use it, because yet again, I think it's their sense of humour coming out in their music. Absolutely brilliant. Next up, we get something really completely different. We get like a ballad almost. So The Best Is Yet to Come. And I think this one might have been splitting a few fans because, like I said, this is what they're doing good on this album. They're pleasing the fans with 99% of this. But they've got to experiment a little bit and do some things a little bit outside the box. And this is it. They're doing a slow song. It's really cool hearing Tornillo's voice in this, because he's got like two sides to his voice. When he sings, almost more than that. When he sings quiet songs, and then his aggressive part, he's almost Bon Scott, that sort of sound. Like any good rock ballad as well. This builds and builds. It's heavier, and it sort of breaks up the heaviness nicely. Although we've had a couple of songs that are more melodic, in between the heavy songs, it's nice to have a slow song to break it up even more. Next one is one of my favourites on the album, and that's How Do We Sleep. This is a cool song. I love the groove to it. It almost reminds me of one of my favourite Accept songs, and that's Stalingrad. It's got that sort of rhythm, that sort of groove with them guitars, them sort of riffs going on. I think this is probably, and I've heard this album twice now. Once yesterday when I was driving, and today, this morning, and I think this is the one that is sort of the deeper cut. I think it's going to be a deeper cut. I don't think it'd be a single, but this is the one that I like out of the deeper cuts. This could be my favourite on the album, with time to come. Next up, second to last track, Not My Problem. Going back to the faster stuff again. So, we've got a good mixture here. We've got the faster Accept stuff. We've got the medium pace stuff, The Undertaker and songs like that. We've got the slow song. This is going back to the faster stuff again. The verses actually remind me of Beating Around the Bush. It's got that same rhythm and drums going on, if you know what I mean. It's a cool song. I actually like it. It's like heavy rock and roll in the verses, like AC/DC heavy rock and roll, Beating Around the Bush. Then it goes into the Accept type chorus. And then we go to the last song. It's an instrumental, Samson and Delilah. So I really like this song. I'm not sure they've done many instrumentals in the past. But I'll tell you what I like about this, and it reminds me, I know I keep comparing, but I want to give you some idea and it's not the feel of the song, but it reminds me, it's got a simple riff going throughout the song in the background, and it reminds me a little bit of Coast to Coast by Scorpions for some reason, because that had the same sort of riff going and the same beat. It didn't really change, but it's a great, great song, and this reminds me of that. It's a different vibe, obviously. It's got that Eastern sort of feel, Egyptian almost feel to it, which I love in metal music, but it keeps that riff going, all the way through. So it's got a simple riff going in the background, but some brilliant guitar work going throughout the song as well. So, and just before I finish, like, props to all the band. I mean, I've always loved the rhythm section of Accept, and I think that's what you need. It's a little bit like, and then no comparing again, but when you look at the rhythm section of AC/DC, you need that in a band like this, something that's, that doesn't take anyone out of the groove. It's sort of nice and simple, but really effective in a way. So, to all the band, I think it's a great album. I'm not sure if they need to, like the next album in a couple of years' time, what they need to do with that. Maybe something a little bit different again. Sometimes something like keeping the music, but doing something different, like, I don't know. I know it's not like Accept, but like a concept album or something like that. A loose one or something like that. Just to break it up a little bit. But as far as this album is concerned, it fits straight in with all those 5 albums, and they've got a fucking run now that's so consistent. I think all the albums are great in their own right. Stalingrad's my favourite still of all the 5 albums, but all of them are fucking top notch, and this will be in my top albums of the year. You know, I'm not sure where it's going to fall because we've got some great albums coming out this year, but without a doubt it'll be up there. Great performance by the band. I fucking love Accept. I think they're, you know, probably an underrated band as well. And if you're just into the old Accept, you know, you got to move on. Just accept them how they are, because they're great with Mark Tornillo, and he does a fucking excellent job. Thanks for listening. I hope you like the review. What do you think of the new album? Do you agree with my review? Or if you don't, it's cool. Everyone's got their own view of the album. Comments below, please. I love reading comments. And if you want to subscribe, please press the red button, bottom right corner.